Good evening. I'd like to call the Guthrie Historic Preservation Commission to order for September of 2013. Mr. Hankey, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bothroyd, Commissioner Bowers, Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Long,
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Here.
Commissioner Robbins,
Here.
Chairman Wood, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome our newest member to the commission, Mr. James Long. Thank you for stepping up and being with us and helping us keep Guthrie historic.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Moving on to our first item, or second, number 2, the consent agenda, approval of the minutes of August 5th, 2013. Have the commissioners had a chance to look those over? If everything is in order, I'd like to have somebody make a motion to approve.
So move.
Moved, and may I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
We have a first and a second. We
Who
have
seconded?
Me.
Kathy,
Ms.
who
Robbins.
made the motion?
I did.
Okay,
Here.
Mahoney.
Okay, Kim, yeah.
Kim.
Yeah.
Yes. May we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
The minutes from the August 5th meeting are approved as written. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 3, consideration and action on CA 20111-704 to apply new signage over the main window and on the entry door glass at 105 West Harrison Avenue. Let's see. The applicant wishes to apply a new sign over the main window at 105 West Harrison Avenue. The applicant wishes to attach the new sign directly to the wooden material located on the entresol area. The front will be in a script style. Additional lettering, script style, and scrolling will be placed on the entry door glass, as well as lettering on the front window abutting the entry door. Any comments from staff?
We have none. Is there anyone here tonight representing
Yes.
Get Vaped?
Good. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. I'm Jess Schweinberg with Metro Signs out of Oklahoma City representing Get Vaped.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Not a problem.
I'm sorry, your last name again, sir?
Schweinberg.
Schweinberg.
You
Okay.
want me to spell it?
Sure.
SCHWEINBERG.
B-E-R-G. Thank you very much.
You bet, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is this sign going to be an applied sign, I guess? Is it
It's a dimensional all aluminum construction channel letter with a return on it, similar to what we've done for Bank First, IBC Bank in the past here. Painted with a polyurethane painted finish, and it will be stud mounted directly to the facade.
Okay. Any comments from commissioners, concerns? Very well. It seems to fall in line with...
Could I ask
see
a
what-
question?
Yes, ma'am.
One of the items that we often look for, that we go by in our guidelines, is preference in our guidelines for a border around new signs coming in. Has there been discussion with your client regarding that, and is that something we could discuss further?
When you say border, please explain what you're referring to.
Yeah, frame around the lettering.
Well, the original design that we showed or provided them with taking into consideration some of the signs that are already on Harrison, it was with a background. But the biggest concern was with the font and the lettering that they use. We would have had to reduce the size of the copy in order to keep it under the square footage that the historic district tries to keep it under. So typically when we have come in front of the city and in front of you, the border, as we're referring to it, becomes part of the square footage of the sign, and it was greatly going to reduce what they were going to be able to show. So we took it out at the last hour before we submitted everything to you guys. to say that it couldn't be done, as long as this committee and as long as the city would allow it, we could go ahead and add it. It's an extra expense to the client, but I'm sure that in order for them to get a sign, they're going to want to do it. But the problem is also, what color would you want to see it in? Because when I submitted this artwork for consideration, both to the city and to come to you guys, we showed it as white and blue, and I noticed that all the commissioners are looking at blue, so I don't know if the white ever made it to you guys or not.
Well, typically, square footage criteria is not a factor in the historic district. It is in signage throughout the rest of the city,
Okay?
but the ordinance is written so that the signage is not a dominant factor that takes away from the architectural design of the structure.
Okay.
Actually, there's no square footage requirement. In past, I know we've had discussion on script-style font, and if it's a regional or national logo, then of course, it's a non-issue.
Yes.
And I didn't know if that was worthy of discussion tonight or not.
As for, I don't believe this is a national, this is
This is their second location. They've got one in Oklahoma City, and this is their second one, and they're looking at opening 3 or 4 more. So I guess by definition, they're going to be a regional, but I think primarily in the Oklahoma City metro area.
right.
Is this their same design in Oklahoma City?
Yes, sir, it is. Actually, there's additional signage that goes on the other ones. They've got a tagline that goes below it. And I'm working off of memory, your vaping solution or something like that. But it's a combination of 3 signs: get, the vaped, and then the tagline that went below it.
There seems to be something here, I guess it's going on the door on the second page, all your vaping needs, your smoking alternative, and it's I guess, block letters, vinyl letters on the window. That's
Yes, sir.
what it's going to be. Back to the sign, again, with the square footage and things, that really, as Mr. Hankey was saying, in the rest of the community here in the historic district, has to do mainly with how big the sign can be placed on the window glass itself. It can't, we measure as far as square footage there, it can't be more than a third of the window glass.
As far as the vinyl graphics go, we're considerably under.
Exactly, but that's what, but getting back to the sign up top on the
Okay.
entresol area or the facade, that, again, it's more on what, again, as they were saying, it doesn't take away from the architectural detail and also what looks natural, what would be something that doesn't look out of place, or the proportions would be more correct is what we're looking for.
The signs that the owners of Get Vape sent me as reference that they wanted me to follow were signs that were on brick or stone. Most of them that they sent me were the ones across the street, and I get turned around in Guthrie, so I can't tell you if it's north, south, east, or west. But across the street from them,
Close enough.
all of them are up on the third story part of the building, second, third peak. The ones that they sent me were all either a brick or stone, and the border that you're referring to was done to simulate some of them were done maybe even in a capstone, but they were done in a way to appear like it's part of the structure. This building itself is unique in the sense that there's no stone or brick on this building. It's a wood looking facade. And I think anything we do as far as the border, I mean, naturally, if it's what you want and you want a background to it, most certainly we can do it. The only thing that's going to look good is white with the look of this sign. So I don't know aesthetic-wise if it's going to look too commercial, in my opinion, for your district, but that's going to be your guys' call. Because you definitely don't want to do any other color background on it, so it's going to be a white on white. I wouldn't think you'd want to do any other color.
No. I
No.
feel that would be, keep it in the same color palette of what's
Right.
already there and what
Yeah.
they've already painted the building.
Commissioners, I just wanted to point out to you that it was within the ordinance. It is not one of the items that states this is what is needed, and it specifically says that it's recommended. And if you take a look in your book, it's SG9, letter number F. Just here to remind you. The dimensions that you have, the 96 by 32, that's the overall size from top of get to the,
No,
Bottom of the
it's a
P.
it's top of the V to the bottom of the P.
gotcha.
Because the V is the highest point on the top and the P is the
Okay.
lowest point.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, Mr. Hankey, remind us of the discussion we've had in the past about script that would have been going on before my tenure here.
Well, I was looking for it here in the actual ordinance, and I can't put my finger on it right now. But I do know that historically, Renee, you can probably help me, you wrote this thing. Script-style fonts have been discouraged unless they're part of a regional or national logo, i.e. curves. Remember curves had a font style to their logo, and I think there's been one or two others.
Yeah.
In here. Not that it's been prohibited by the ordinance, but it has been discouraged.
Well, in this case, I feel that it has it is, what do you say?
It's an aesthetic, appealing looking
I-
letter style.
It's not.
Well,
just-
Let me help.
Thank you. I guess that's,
I just don't think that font was used that often.
Yes.
Back during,
the script
the
was not
script
used.
was used that often.
Right.
Back during the historic portion of that we're trying to maintain here. Block letter, grease pens, chalk, and those types of things were in font letters were used. Is there a-
Well, I don't feel that it has a negative impact as opposed to, if it was just a truly very frilly script. I think that this still falls in a rather, conservative more Victorian type of a script. If we allow something like that, it's, again, it's on a case-by-case basis. This is something that apparently this is kind of they're trying to get as their trademark logo.
It is their trademark logo that the logo that they use at their other location.
And probably that they will want to use elsewhere,
Correct.
wherever they go. Reinventing the wheel. Is any other comments or concerns?
You mentioned it was given to us in white or in blue, and we only have the blue in front of us.
Right.
Is that a preference?
Blue is their,
Do you remember?
blue is their color.
You.
Blue is
Okay.
their-
I think if you put white on that, it would be too hard to see. with the
That's
white
what I
and
was
brown.
thinking
It
too.
would disappear into.
Yeah. I think aesthetically, it looks good.
Yes, aesthetically, it falls within, I think, our guidelines. We may be pushing the envelope a little, but I think it's not out of the,
It's
out of
close
the-
enough
out of the
to a
ballpark.
printed look,
yes.
if you just stop and look at each letter individually.
Any other comments or questions as
And
far as?
you're right, Mr. Chairman. Each application is based on a case-by-case
Mm-hmm.
consideration. What may be appropriate for one building may not be
Not be
for one across the street.
Yes, sure, yes.
So that's correct, Steve.
And that is, and I feel that we want to be as business-friendly as we can. I feel that's, we're trying to be. There comes some points that we have to say, step up and ask harder questions, but I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions?
There is a particular line in here where it talks about an individual letter size being in proportion to the scale of the front facade. Again, on SG 10, the reference is there to individual lettering overall being at 20 inches in height. Now, in your situation, I see where the V, and yes, we're getting down to some of the details, is a major element in your overall design. So I would concede with commission's approval that the V is a unique element and would most likely be appropriate to be larger in this scale. Okay?
And I agree with that, too. It has to do with scale.
Right.
And to the building. We don't want the V to cover the entire front of the
No,
building.
which
or-
it doesn't.
And
Yeah.
I'm being exaggerating here, or make it too small where then it doesn't look right with
Right.
the building or with the architecture. It seems to complement the facade as well as any sign could for whatever their purpose they needed, so. Any other, and also, okay, moving on from this sign, we also have the windows and things like that. Is that, how does that, and of course, it looks like it's the exact same thing. We have the front hours, and their tagline on the window, which is well inside, and it falls within our guidelines as to what they do and what they have. So, is any other comments? Does anybody have any concerns? If that's the case, after talking about it, I feel that this is fine, and we can entertain a motion to approve as submitted with the blue, and let them carry on.
I think it looks great.
Also, can I add one other thing? I assume on the vinyls, you see the open sign,
The LED.
the LED open sign, is that approved in the historic district?
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
I don't see it.
Where's that?
It's on page 2 with this.
It seems like they have become in great preference here in Guthrie. We have, as the commission, have not had, the city has approved that more than the commission has. I personally am not fond with them, but they are all over town, and we can have a non-flashing, or supposed to be non-flashing, open and closed LED or lit open sign. Now it's LED or neon or lit, some backlit somehow. So that was not our call. So that is,
Okay.
The consideration there is flashing, it has to be non-flashing.
yes.
There's usually a
Well, they requested me to put it in the artwork, and I just wanted to be on record that they can or can't.
And they have to be typical size.
I don't even know that they've addressed that, sir.
You know, usually the store owners buy them at
Sam's?
Sam's or
Yeah.
something.
Yes, sir.
Just whatever the typical size is, yeah.
That is, I would personally prefer something different, but that's,
I understand. I understand.
that said, again, I could entertain a motion to approve as submitted with the blue color.
I'll move.
We have a motion to accept. We have a second, please.
I'll second.
And we have a second. Could we have how we feel, sir?
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Application is approved as mentioned.
Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for information and everything. Moving on to item 4. Consideration and action on CA 20111-713 to display new signage at 108 East Oklahoma Avenue. The applicant wishes to display new signage at 108 East Oklahoma Avenue. The proposed white vinyl lettering will be outlined in blue and will be placed on the front window of the business. The front entry door will have additional signage. A photo illustration has been submitted for our review. Any comments from staff?
We have none. Is there anyone here
Is anybody
representing KLM Services? I think so.
No, there is not. Does all the commissioners have? Yes. Any My first thing that I see in this is that they're changing the font on the door, and that, to me, is more of a script font than even the last
Yeah.
application. I would suggest if this were to go through, that the font on the door match
Yes.
the sign fonted, the main sign font on the window.
Be consistent.
Yes. As it looks, that is a more modern script, more in where we could bring that in. Without much more information than that, it doesn't really, we don't know sizes other than it says that the font is going to be blue in color. Do the other commissioners have any comments or any concerns with this?
So what
Without
we're,
knowing more from the owner, do we want to continue on with this?
Well, if it's at your pleasure, you could consider what's in the illustration, or the
Yes.
rendering says it's going to be, the font is going to be blue.
Yes,
It's going to be in proportion to the window as in the photograph.
as shown.
Regardless, the ordinance would not allow it to be more than 30% of the
Correct.
glazing, so.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Yes, I was thinking, that was understood.
Or you could, if you have other questions that you
I-
want the applicant to answer, you could table it till the next meeting.
Or could we give it back to them and tell them if their font matches, the door font would match the main sign font, that they could go ahead and do it
They
then?
could go ahead
In
and do
blue
that.
in proportion to-
Yes.
as in the illustration.
Yes, that would be more in what we're trying to get through here. We'd like them to go ahead and get it done if they want to, so. But I just want to make sure that yes.
I would think also it would be a good thing to make items perfectly clear, and that on the final resolution of passage, we indicate that that each letter is to be cut as opposed to having the look of a blue outline on a white rectangle.
Yes, yes.
yes.
Just put it in writing type thing.
Definitely, yeah.
But did I misunderstand? Is the lettering supposed to be blue? So the KLM on the main window, that would be blue, not an outline?
That's the
know.
way
That it was submitted.
the way it was submitted and what was read in the,
Where it looks like this will be white inside here.
Oh, yeah, we don't
But-
want that.
But on this, it can't be anything but the blue lettering.
Yeah, we don't want that white
But
rectangle.
it talks about being on white.
it really doesn't show on the application itself, just in the background is what
The
gives us
proposed
the,
white vinyl lettering outlined in blue.
It seems like we need more information or them here to understand what our concerns are before we could really,
as it is, this is what it says, the proposed white vinyl lettering will be outlined in blue. And so it's white lettering
That's white
outlined in blue.
And you can see that
but
on the main
without the white-
sign, but the door wouldn't be able to do
Without the
that.
white background.
Yeah, I would say without the white background, that was just cut and paste, it looks like, from a computer. So, I mean, that really is pretty straightforward if we as commissioners think that, a white outlined letter, basically.
Yeah, we just want to be clear that all of that cutout is not attached. I don't want to
Correct.
think that they submitted it like this, so it would be approved, but, yeah, that,
So, Commissioners, your option would be to make a motion for approval as we discussed, or you could make a motion and, in a second, to table it till the next meeting. It's up.
Yes, and that's what I was asking the commissioners earlier, if we had more questions, if that was the direction we'd want to go, is to table it, or if we go ahead and make it just explicitly clear in our motion. I have no problem with the window font being outlined in blue. Again, as Mr. Long says, without the white background, it would just be the letter outlined in blue. I'm sure that that's what, but as long as that is expressed in our motion. Also on the door, it looks like it's a solid blue letter.
Yeah, it would only be blue, there'd be no white on your
There would
door.
be, yeah, the window lettering would be smaller and then thus be.
It has to match the window.
I think
Yes,
they should match.
and they should match in font and style, but be solid color. Does that
I think we can make those considerations
And allow it to,
Mhm.
okay, and I agree. I think that that would be fine for them. If they have other problems, then they could come back next month and resubmit or do a change if that was not going to be acceptable. With those changes and recommendations noted, could I have a motion to approve the sign?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion to approve,
I'll second.
and we have a second. May we have a vote, please, sir?
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Application is approved with the modifications as noted.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to item 5, consideration and action on CA 201111717 to display new signage at 114 East Harrison Avenue. The applicant wishes to display new signage at 114 West Harrison Avenue. The proposed 5-foot by 2-foot sign will be placed over the front entry doors of the building. Any considerations from staff? Not? I guess there is somebody here to speak.
Yes, there is.
Very good, thank you. I'm sorry, and what is your name, sir?
My name's Eddie Foreman. I'm with the Central Oklahoma Workforce Investment Board.
Mr. Foreman, is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Moving into this building, it's, obviously, this is more like a business mall or a office, multiple offices in there.
Mr. Maupin has, I believe, 5 tenants, including us in the building right now.
Okay.
And my question, is Workforce Oklahoma, is this unique to Guthrie, or are there?
No, there's about 44 offices across the state that use that logo.
Okay.
Are you the major tenant in the building, or are you just another
Yeah,
one?
I've never asked Mr. Maupin whether I'm the major tenant or not. I mean, we have 3 of the office spaces inside the building.
Right,
And-
all the others, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you've heard us discuss some of the other signage here today about type of signs, what complement the district and everything. And this sign is, where this one comes to be very, very modern in a really older part
And
of
very
town.
large compared to
And-
the other signs.
Yes.
and large, as opposed to the other tenants and signs on the building. I feel that's going to be a major concern here.
I
with-
understand.
With the commission.
Do we know if the sign will actually fit? Because the picture that we see here doesn't show that the awning that is currently on there. There is an awning now on that building, so I don't even know if you'd have 24 inch. I think you said your sign's 2 foot by 5 feet. I don't even know if you'd have 2 foot to go up, to be honest, before you hit the awning.
I measured it. There's 2 feet.
Below the awning,
Yeah.
below the frame of the awning.
Yeah, because the frame of the awning goes almost all the way up where the frame is.
Goes all the way up to the entresol, or what looks
Yes.
like would be the entresol. Being that this is a national logo,
No, it's state logo.
it is state logo.
Right.
Okay. But still, it is the,
It's
It is-
one that's, it may well be used in other states. I mean, I've seen Workforce, I've seen WorkSource, there's a variety across the country, but Oklahoma settled on this about 94, 95.
has it been considered possibly because the way our ordinance reads, there's really only supposed to be one major sign on on a building.
Right.
Usually because it's usually one business within that structure. This, because it's a,
There's a current.
yes, oh, okay. Because, thank you. Because this is an office, a multi-office complex, we have allowed, as you know, 4 different signs.
Right.
Main signs on the front, all the same, but that's the whole thing. We've allowed more and more to be added in the same size and dimension. Is it out of the question that your signage be placed in this size and to go along and complement the other signage there?
It can be placed there if that's what you like. I just would think that advertising of this kind of service for the citizens of Guthrie would be more important than advertising bail bond service, but, you know.
Well,
I
it
don't
has-
think we think of signing as necessarily the advertisement that we're looking at here, is more as the aesthetics view of the building and ensure we're keeping historic area preserved. And so as we appreciate that you advertise, and it is a great service, and don't get me wrong, but as far as looking at the signage on the building, it just really looks out of place, in my opinion, to have that large of a sign above the door and have these other 4 signs that look identical with border and size and shape, and then to throw another 5x2 rectangle above the doors, I think, in my opinion, would be out of place.
Thank you, that's well put, and that's exactly what I feel, what we're all seeing here, and that being stated,
Well, might I ask which one of the 4 signs you would want copied, because they're all different in script?
I feel that your logo.
Keep your logo.
You could keep your sign, your exact line, just fit it within the confines of, to match the other 4 signs there. I mean, that being a state logo, that's a recognizable trademark of yours, instead of just, it just overpowers the rest of the facade in the front, and
Okay, I understand you. So the same size as the other signs?
yes,
And it would be all right to have it at the top above the,
Yes, there's room for it.
yes.
If you just notice, the other signs are all in the same shape, and the fact that each corner has been cut, and then each one also has a border around it. So they all mimic one another, although the fonts within each one is a little different.
And that gives them their unique and
Sure.
their own identity, just as your sign would give you your identity, but just in the same size as theirs.
well, if I remember correctly, all these are black. Is that something else that you want? Just to say workforce?
No, you may use colors. I think it would be acceptable if you, again, it's your state logo, that's what's recognizable. If it's just in the same size as the rest of those and in the same border and shape as the others, because everybody has their own identity within that same
Okay.
outline, I feel that that would be acceptable to the,
Okay.
And even though you've used a, you've brought your sign size down considerably, your colors and things are still attractive enough that I think it will draw to it.
Thank you.
it'll still have your advertising effect, I feel, that you're wanting, and it just won't be
So overpowering.
overpowering to the front of this building and everything else that's going on. We're trying
Okay.
to keep going here, so.
That might have been easier for me to cut and paste to get it that size anyway. I don't know.
Okay. Well, with that said, if that's acceptable to you
It would, yes.
and acceptable to the commission, any other comments from staff or commissioners? If we could entertain a motion to approve as we have made the changes.
So move. And thank you, Mr. Foreman.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I will make that motion.
We have
Just did.
a motion to, I'm sorry?
I'd already made a motion.
Oh,
You want me to second you then? I don't care.
We have-
Oh.
Well, we have 2 first and 2 seconds, so
So we're
whoever
good.
however you want to do.
Mahoney first, Robbins on the second.
There we go, very well. And may we have a vote, please? sir?
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Application is approved with modifications that the sign will be of the same size and dimensions as the other one, the ones being currently displayed, and the proposed sign colors are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Moving on to item 6, consideration and action on CA 201111725 to refurbish flower beds at 201 North Division Street. Go through that. And we have somebody here. Background, applicant wishes to refurbish the flower beds at 201 North Division Street, which would be the Guthrie Public Library. The proposed project will update existing plantings and will include cement benches, pavers, and decorative fencing. Diagram has been submitted for our review. Anything from staff to add to that? And not, we have a guest here to tell us. And your name, sir?
My name is Zane Winkleman.
I'm sorry, Zane?
Zane Winkleman.
Thank you,
With
Zane.
Boy Scout Troop 850.
For the purpose of our viewing audience, I would like to commend Mr. Winkleman. He came forward with his project that he is working towards for his Eagle Scout designation. So he's put a lot of care and thought into this. He's worked with the Master Gardeners Group to have them assist him in his design and in also selecting even the plants that would go into it. And again, part of the presentation and putting the materials together is also part of the program that he has to go through. We've gone over some of the details, and he's here to present what he has so far. I told him that you would entertain his presentation and make suggestions for things that may need to be changed, if any.
Well, thank you very much. Well, please tell us what you plan on doing. That'd be,
All right, so the library garden has fallen into somewhat of a disrepair. This seems to happen fairly often, and it just kind of gets patched back up and then falls back down again. But what I'm proposing to do is basically do somewhat of a fairly permanent renovation to it that will hopefully take a lot longer to fall into disrepair. The master gardeners are taking care of the bulk of the planting, as their plant choices, I don't believe they've confirmed exactly what they're doing, but they intend to use Oklahoma native plants that are hardy to the conditions. Basically, they're looking to do a kind of a demonstrated garden to show people that come to the library as tourists or just guests what some native Oklahoma plants are. As far as the planting goes, I believe the flower beds are outlined in the diagram. Most, if not all, of the existing plants will most likely be removed, with the exception of the outlined experimental garden in the raised bed to the west. That is going to be somewhat of a children's garden. It's for the people, they're the children that frequent the library's summer programs, and it's during the school year programs. There's a woman, Miss Martin, who works with them before their story time on certain days, and they go out and they plant morning glories and squash and whatever they really want to. And the idea is just to kind of let them see stuff grow, not necessarily to gain anything substantial from it. As far as the paving goes, the areas outlined, we intend to pave them with a pattern of red and gray cement brick over a sand base on top of a black plastic to keep any possibility of grass to a minimum. The benches are going to be cement in the style of the ones at the Apothecary Gardens and the ones by the post office. The three-piece that they're not even connected, but they are so heavy that they'll just stand by themselves. Any questions?
that sounds very commendable, and it sounds like it's going to be a really beautiful project. That was one of my going to be a question of what type of bench you were planning on, being that is a really modernist cubist building. What would be to stay in the architecture probably there or close to it, just so it matches pretty well with the building, even though we would like to see something of maybe 100 years ago. We don't have that option, so.
And your little section of fence, what will it be made?
The small section of fence is going to be all along the outside of the experimental garden border, which is raised, I'm not sure exactly how much, I think it's about 1.5 feet. It would run up, I'm not sure exactly how high, but just a marginal distance to allow something like a vine to grow up it if they wanted to plant some kind of a bean in the experimental gardens, or if they wanted to do morning glories or any vining flower on the other side, since there's beds on either side.
Well, will it be metal? Will it be
Yes,
wood?
I believe there are pictures included of the,
Don't think we got them.
No, we didn't. That we did not.
I apologize, I thought I'd submitted the pictures with the application. There were 3 possibilities of fence.
Yes, you did. They were here, and I'm not sure why they're not.
All
But
right.
you did submit them, and we had them in
There were
hand.
3 possibilities of fence design. Unfortunately, I don't remember exactly what they look like.
The first is a simple wrought iron, basic straight lines. Another piece would be,
If you don't mind, sir, if you wouldn't mind stepping up, please, thank you.
the 3 options that were presented were a wrought iron, straight lines, a second wrought iron also basically of just straight lines. The third was wrought iron, but more of a swirl, kind of a flower.
More
type-
decorative.
More decorative pattern. All of them are basic wrought iron that we could get from places like Home Depot.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, this might be an idea. Again, being that this is a modernist building, probably more straight lines would, being
Than
more
curly
cubist
cues.
instead of curlicues or type of thing would probably fit better in this design. Just thinking in my mind's eye what it could possibly be. Sorry we didn't get these in our packet, otherwise it'd be a little
Yeah,
clearer.
I'm sorry about that. It had pictures of all of the materials to be used, including the benches and the brick.
I think they're coming this way.
Yes.
I'll send it down, you guys.
Okay.
And take a look. It was in the holder.
The brick and wrought iron are both generally, we tried to take them from places like the Apothecary Gardens and all of the other buildings throughout the historic district to try to keep it within the confines of the library. Is a fairly modern building, but still try to have some historic element to it.
Where, the fence is just along the one side, is that what I see here?
Yes, it would just be
Children.
in that
That's a good
small area.
Is that the east elevation?
And the benches, yeah.
Would that fence be on the east elevation next to Division?
No, it's
Be on the west side.
On the west.
It's on the west side, right up against the raised bed. On
So-
the west side of the tree,
Yeah.
Three-piece.
in that small flower bed against the west.
Okay, thank you.
So it will not be in the raised bed, it will be
No,
below.
it will be
Okay.
just outside of it, along the brick.
Did you see the bonus?
Isn't this one going in this way?
Yeah, but since that's the building, we want to keep it as.
Pass this down right below.
Very well, I think we're all pretty much in agreement here as to which bench and which fence we would appreciate seeing there.
All right?
It would be, well, I guess we can show you, what is this? It'd be the Allure aluminum simple provincial 3-rail fence, the one that would have the spires,
Most
the
simple of the
finials.
three, actually.
The
Actually,
most
it's the
simple,
simplest. Plus, it's
basically.
protected so that if there's a child or somebody that way, they can't necessarily fall on it.
Yeah.
And then
Also, one question.
Yes.
Do you have a suggested height that the fence reach? I did not intend it to come probably much above waist level, but do you have an actual dimension that you would prefer?
Does that have a,
Not necessarily seeing a three-dimensional. Let's see, this has, it comes up, it's This is a
See, that's
54 inch.
It's
This is
almost
pretty,
5 foot.
yeah. If they make this,
In a shorter.
well, that's,
I think the height requirement for commercial zoning is 7 foot.
but that would be a maximum,
Maximum.
anything up
Yeah,
to that.
and
What would,
we-
what,
Okay.
The idea is to keep it fairly low so as not to influence the sight lines in any one direction.
if that fence can be purchased at, say, a
36 or 42?
yeah, 42 standard, 48 inch, 4 foot at most, 4 foot, or like you're saying, 42 inches. If they have a, not sure if they have different, if that doesn't, they may not have different heights in that.
We can,
Something
if
close.
it's not that, what?
The fence is basically trying to be used as more of a trellis
Yes.
for items, and so the fence can actually be sunk into the ground.
Ah.
So height requirement is basic,
You can-
pick one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can adjust it and make it that way.
Okay.
I think 4 foot.
That works.
is-
Yeah, I'm thinking
foot.
48 inches would probably be just right. That's,
Well, and the building code has requirements for fencing for child safety mainly, but most commercially sold fencing meets those requirements.
All right.
yes. And then again, with the garden bench, the very plain, the other one has kind of a lyre base to it, but this one is just the very, very
This more straight
cubit,
leg.
straight leg, very boxy. That would, I think, would complement the architecture probably, and with the stone that you're trying to do, the straight lines probably, so.
With that one being gray.
Gray
Since the pavers
yes.
are gray.
And with that, is there any other comments or questions or concerns from?
My
You know-
concern is that that we are eliminating all of the grass. And actually, I went around today looking at all of these sites that we were looking at today. And a class at St. Mary's was actually sitting underneath the redbud tree holding class. And so if we were to eliminate all the grass, then we just have pavers. I understand we're adding some additional benches, but the formation wouldn't necessarily be conducive to, students coming and holding class. And aesthetically, we still have the flower beds, but if we look at the two banks that are across the street on the corners, they have very lush gardens. And across the street where Terry's Pond is, although they don't have lush gardens, they do have a strip of grass there that is there, where the library is all concrete, all large, wide sidewalks, which is fine because they've put these little planters here and there, and we have these planters and they've have the lawn. So I don't know that we'd want to remove all of the lawn.
grass.
I think that where he has this area here with the 3 benches and the brick, I think that would be good. But underneath the tree, I just think putting brick pavers around a tree, you're going to find that they're going to become very uneven as the tree roots grow and ground shifts and things of that nature. I think that maybe under the tree, it would be best to leave it as grass and only do brick pavers here in the open, where there's no shade, there's no true vegetation here that would cause the bricks to move or anything like that. That's just a concern that I have.
One, along the lines of your concern, one thing that my contact at the Master Gardeners, Betsy Randolph, brought up was that if we were to dig down any around the tree, it would most likely kill it, simply because it would take out some very important surface roots. And to lay the pavers correctly there, we would either have to dig down or raise it up. There's been some question on how we would do that between the Master Gardeners and Cindy Sellinger at the library. So would you prefer the benches to be resting on, basically, the benches resting on pavers, but the rest left is grass?
Well, I mean, that would be my preference.
I
to
think
leave
that
grass.
would leave, that's a good point. Yes, supporting the bench as stabilizing the bench obviously has to be done, and then leaving a grassy area there for
Or she made a good comment, maybe we just eliminate those three benches,
just
or move
eliminate
them,
the-
maybe they can be, we could put more in this, open area here. That's the,
Yeah.
The,
Yes.
the idea of the open area was to keep a fair amount of ground space open so that if there were children that wanted to come out, they could sit on the ground. And the idea being that a lot of people don't want their kids sitting on grass whenever it's fairly dusty or whatever, and it's often fairly dusty here in Oklahoma. And that was one of the concerns of the library, that if they were going to have kids coming out and sitting on the ground, it would probably be best if it was on some kind of concrete. And with the benches as they are, that leaves an area that if it's a nice day, you could come out and do story time out there instead of inside the library if they wanted to.
Or move the benches to the hard surface outside the grassy area. Just move them off to the edge of the grassed area.
I don't believe I understand.
Is there not, is that looking at, just not trying to figure out the,
Where the sidewalks.
where the sidewalks are and the building? Where the sidewalk is, the building begins, all the pathways. Hard to see.
you could move the sidewalk, or to the,
top side of that
should be
the building, if you're looking at those.
Okay.
Should be, this would be the building
Yes,
across here.
okay.
So instead of having this around the tree, you're suggesting putting the 3 benches where, on here or up under this area close to the building?
I think either would be fine.
Either would be fine, wherever you thought would be another acceptable place to put them. I was thinking if there is a hard surface outside the grassy area around the tree, just, there's a red, you have that red rectangle around the tree.
This is what we
Yeah.
were proposing of paving in around the tree.
Uh-huh.
The rest of this is grass.
So there is still
This
grass.
is the only area that's going to be paved in solid
Uh-huh,
with those. This would be a flower bed, this is a flower bed, this area would be a flower bed, this is flower.
and now the red box around the tree is
Red box is what we were
discussing paving, and the rest, and now outside of that
It's all grass.
is all
It's
grass.
all grass.
Ah, okay.
But if you prefer that to remain as grass,
Well-
any one of those cement benches could sit on grass and be stable.
Okay. Then that should be fine. I think that would be, and that's, because that was a concern, by bricking that in or putting a paving around that tree, there's a chance of damaging or killing that tree.
That was one of the things that Ms. Randolph was going to take a lead on.
Okay, well then,
She wanted to check it out.
I think we've alleviated that.
Well, and if you can't set the benches around the tree for whatever reason and have them stable, then up by the building or,
This is all an overhang here. They have some potting, some large pots up here. There's also a section here that in between the building itself and this brick. It's about 5 foot wide. Some could go here or along here. There
And-
would be plenty of places for it.
And I feel that wherever you decided to put benches, I think, I'm speaking for everybody, that wherever you wanted to put a bench would be perfectly fine out there. It's not going to
Because
be.
they're movable anyway.
They're movable, and there may be one, it may come once you get done, it may seem, oh, we need a bench right here. This is a focal point we would like people to set and see a planting or move it to a planting that you put in to give them something to contemplate, so. Very well. Anything else to have?
Do you know, as far as the refurbished flower beds, I know you said they were going to work with the master gardeners. Is that going to be flower-type plants or shrub-type plants, or?
I believe they were moving towards flowers. However, in the replacement of the bushes that are already in place, the one by the flagpole is in disrepair. It's 2 bushes that have grown together. One of them, I'm pretty sure, wasn't even planted. It just kind of sprung up and was left alone. They are not, I think they're thinking about just completely taking that out, taking whatever they can from it. A lot of these plants are going to be reused or recycled somehow. A lot of people have already taken clippings if they wanted them. The master gardeners are taking care of all of that, so I'm not exactly certain on the details, but I believe they were looking at including some kind of a bushy thing that would stay within its boundaries in the area by the pole. And I believe they intended to completely remove the bush in the northwestern corner and turn that completely into a bed. But I'm not sure on any of these details.
Okay.
Well, I feel it's going to look very, very good. Can't wait for you to get after it.
All right.
Get it
When do you
done.
plan on starting?
Yeah.
The times will be determined by when the scouts and the master gardeners will be available.
Very good.
Very good. Commissioners, after we've discussed this and with the changes that we've proposed, does anybody have a recommendation for a motion to approve?
I'll move.
We have a motion to approve. May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
We have a second. We find out how we feel, Mr. Hankey.
Robbins,
Yes.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Wood.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Zane.
you
Thank you,
very
Zane.
much. Look forward to it. Good luck, and can't wait to see the finished product.
All right, I look forward to having it finished.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on to 7, new business. Do we have any new business? Thank you all.
Thank you.
No new business. Reports or comments from staff?
Just something brief. I handed out before the meeting started some training information for all of you if you'd like, and it's open to the public as well. The City of Norman is putting on a workshop. It will be held one day in the City of Norman and another day in Oklahoma City, and that's coming up this Thursday in Norman and Friday in Oklahoma City. They're dividing it into 2 components. The first half is for people who are interested in residential changes, trying to update a historic home, and they'll go over some ideas and procedures on how to handle that. The second portion in the afternoon would be for enhancements to a commercial building. You're open to go to either or both. Best part, they're all free. So more than happy to provide that information to you. If anyone has questions, they can call our office, 282-1110, or come by the planning department. Okay,
Thank you very much. Look forward to that. Hope I can at least attend one of those. I'd really like to.
I'll take notes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
Mr. Zane?
I think we have.
Yes, we have, yes,
Apologies.
not a problem.
Can I get the pictures of the benches?
Oh, certainly, yes. We,
Those are the ones that
the ones that we, there's the, I believe that's the,
fence and the bench.
and that one. Yes, those are the 2 you need. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, good, okay, on with the workshops. Moving on from that, any comments from commissioners? None?
I'm new here, so I appreciate you guys being willing to work with me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much for being here and
Glad
work
you
with
got an
us.
iPhone. I don't. We can't make pictures. One thing I did want to ask, on the little car detailing shop just right south of Division and Harrison, I noticed a structure has been built in there. It's kind of like a little thing that comes
Yes.
out on the front of the building.
Oh, yeah, I think they put that up for the festival so they could sell water and
that?
stuff.
Okay, okay,
That's not a permanent.
okay.
No, it was over one of the doors. That was I noticed that, and also I'd noticed that the vape shop had repainted the front, and we had not seen any, even though it matches and maybe carry on the colors of the buildings directly west of it. It's just something
There are
that
some,
we,
there are some temporary changes in town, various businesses that should go back to normal here soon.
I know of one
This
major
week.
one. Yeah. Very well, okay. Any other comments from commissioners or anything? Nothing? Again, James, thanks for being with us and welcome. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
So moved. We are adjourned. Thank you all.